that Britain is broken. We know nothing works anymore. We know our politicians have been hopeless, led our country into decline. But we're not here because we're miserable. We're here because of one four-letter word. Not that one. Well, it could have been. No, we're here because we are providing something that none of the others can. We are providing genuine hope for the people of this country that we can turn things around. Now, on the international stage, the year has got off to the most extraordinary start. Maduro, the leader of Venezuela, was a very, very bad man, and his removal is a good thing, and well done, America. Well done, America. I mean, his illegitimate rule led to no fewer than 8 million people fleeing Venezuela. That's even more that have left Keir Starmer's Britain. Although I do worry at times our Prime Minister has similar, not the same, but similar authoritarian instincts.
Imagine, if you will, a cold January evening in London. The Excel Centre is buzzing, not with the usual trade show crowd looking at sustainable kitchenware, but with 2,500 people who are absolutely convinced the country is heading for the geological equivalent of a skip fire. The lights dim, the music swells, and suddenly the room is illuminated by enough pyrotechnics to make a rock star jealous. Out walks Nigel Farage, looking like he has just found the winning lottery ticket in the pocket of an old Barber jacket. This is not just a rally, it is the official launch of the 2026 electoral season, and the target is firmly painted on the back of number 10 Downing Street. Nigel did not just speak, he detonated a political bomb that has left Keir Starmer's government of service looking more like a government of excuses. Quick favour, before we dissect how Nigel just tore the Prime Minister's credibility to shreds on live television. A quick favour, if you are loving this breakdown of the British political circus, hit that subscribe button. Over 92% of our viewers have not joined the movement yet. It is free, takes a second, and means the world to us at the British Report. Now back to the show, the London siege, a new sheriff in town. The night kicked off with a choice of candidate that has sent shockwaves through City Hall. Reform UK has officially thrown down the gauntlet for the 2028 mayoral race a full 2 years early by announcing Layla Cunningham as their contender. For those who do not know, Cunningham is the vigilante mum who went viral for confronting Sadiq Khan in the street. She is a former Conservative councillor and, perhaps more crucially for Reform's messaging, a former prosecutor for the Crown Prosecution Service. Cunningham did not mince her words. She described London as a place where the social contract has collapsed and branded the current state of the capital a rape epidemic. While Sadiq Khan's team points to data suggesting violent crime leading to injury fell in all 32 boroughs over the last 12 months, Cunningham is focusing on the feeling of safety, or the lack thereof. She promised a zero-tolerance approach, declaring there is a new sheriff in town and launching an all-out war on crime. It is a bold, punchy narrative that treats the upcoming May Council elections as the first referendum on Khan's London. Reform is clearly betting that Londoners are tired of statistics and want a reckoning for those who have failed them. The judicial review, Farage's legal war. But the real meat of the evening came when Farage took the stage to address what he calls a blatant attempt to stop big wins for the right. Across the country, several Labour-led councils have quietly announced they will not be holding elections this year or have delayed mayoral votes, citing technical reorganisations. Farage, however, smells a rat. He announced that Reform UK is launching a judicial review against the government, accusing Starmer of being fundamentally undemocratic. We will take this matter to the courts, Farage declared to a roar of approval. He is framing this as a battle for parliamentary sovereignty, claiming that Labour is terrified of an electoral bloodbath in traditionally solid areas like Bromley, Bexley, Barking and Dagenham. It is a classic Farage move. Take a procedural council decision and turn it into a high-stakes constitutional drama. By threatening legal action, he is forcing the government to defend its choices in a public forum, keeping reform in the headlines, while painting Starmer as a leader who is cancelling democracy because he is losing the argument.
Nigel Farage says that ends with me if I become Prime Minister, and I'm going to kick off with your reaction, Mike Indian.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to answer there. I'm not sure what I could say without massively triggering our listenership in this space.
I'll try my best.
Disclaimer, warning, he's about to do something left-wing.
Apart from to say that, you know, the Prime Minister has made very clear the UK will not be rejoining the single market, which would be the single biggest benefit of us, you know, rejoining the European Union. A Brexit reset, the language for that was in Labour's manifesto. It built on the approach continued by Rishi Sunak with the Windsor framework, as well as seeking pragmatic adjustments to the large void of data. What we can all agree is that we left the EU just about 5 years ago now. There was a huge gap in terms of what Boris Johnson agreed in terms of what the future relationship would actually look like.
Ukraine and the man who believes in nothing. Then came the international segment, and this is where Farage really stuck the knife in. He took aim at Keir Starmer's recent trip to Paris, where the Prime Minister met with Emmanuel Macron and Volodymyr Zelensky. Farage mocked Starmer's performance, claiming the PM had to look at his notes every 2 seconds like a student who had not studied for his finals. But the critique went deeper than just optics. Farage attacked the Paris Declaration, where the UK and France committed to sending troops to Ukraine as part of a post-peace deal security force. Farage's take: it is extraordinary that a man who believes in nothing is committing British troops for an unlimited period to a conflict zone. He painted a picture of an under-resourced, undermanned and underfunded British army being sent into a meat grinder alongside our friends the French as our only allies. He accused Starmer of giving away our sovereignty just as the 10-year anniversary of the Brexit referendum approaches. It is a potent mix of isolationism and military realism that resonates with a base that feels Britain is overextended abroad and crumbling at home. The Tice tactics, smart business and send reform. While Farage provides the fireworks, Deputy Leader Richard Tice is the man with the spreadsheet. Tice used the rally to talk about the smart business-like practices of the reform councils they already influence. He made a bold claim that local government pension schemes were underperforming by around £1 billion a year due to poor management. Reform's solution: a manual for new councillors to ensure they know exactly what to do on day one to stop the ratepayer from suffering. Tice also pivoted to a surprising topic: special educational needs and disabilities (SND) funding. He announced a new working group led by former Tory MP Dame Andrea Jenkins, aiming for a triple whammy of proposals to fix a system that everyone agrees is failing children. It is an interesting strategic move. By moving into softer policy areas like education and pensions, Reform is trying to shed its image as a one-issue party and position itself as a serious alternative to the hopeless politicians in Westminster. Heathrow, fly baby fly. If you wanted a clear distinction between Reform and the other parties, look no further than Heathrow Airport. Alex Wilson, one of Reform's London Assembly members, announced that only Reform gives wholehearted, unequivocal support to the expansion of Heathrow. While the government is mired in 4 tests regarding air quality and noise, and Sadiq Khan is launching legal challenges, Reform's message is simple: build baby build, fly baby fly. Wilson dismissed the idea that London is not natural Reform territory, pointing out that more people in London voted to leave in 2016 than voted for Sadiq Khan. They are targeting the outer London boroughs where the U-turn on infrastructure and the net zero dogma are felt most keenly. By backing the airport expansion, they are pitching themselves as the party of growth and jobs, standing against the spurious legal challenges of the environmental lobby. It is bold, it is controversial, and it is exactly the kind of common-sense rhetoric that drives their supporters wild.
But anyway, Nigel Farage said last night at a big rally in London at which I was present, he is going to fight Labour's Brexit reset all the way. I mean, what really just grinds my gears about all of this, and it's very simple. It is so blimmin' simple. It's 2016, 10 years ago. The British public went global elites running the country, supranational governance. We don't feel like this is democratic. We don't think it's helping us. We don't understand what their open border, plans are and all the socialism and, trying to tell us how we should live our lives. Get out of it, basically. And that's what the people of the United Kingdom voted for. And we all remember how ugly and weird that whole process was. And then They won. And the government and the political elites were like, no, we got to keep our grip on power. No, don't let the people have control again. We must keep controlling this. The plan, we've got to stick with the plan. So they fought it. I know, quite. They fought it for 4 years, and then finally it's like, oh, we're out. We did it. And then it says, how's Brexit going? And it's like, we haven't done anything with it. We had to make some trade deals because the EU wasn't doing that on our behalf anymore. But otherwise, all the brilliant things we could have done regarding taxation, regarding diversifying from charging VAT on energy, all the beautiful opportunities that were right at the end of our fingertips didn't get used. And now everyone's like, well, that didn't work, did it? So let's sneakily, without even going to the public for a mandate, rejoin stuff. And it was mad that we rejoined Erasmus. Crazy town when we had the Turing scheme, which paid for British students to go study anywhere in the world. And guess where they all wanted to go? The Anglophone universities, because no one speaks foreign languages. No, let's bin that and actually pay the EU millions of pounds for EU students to come to our universities, which are the best in the world, and we will pay them to do that. And not only that, the EU were like, oh, I know, let's invite loads of students from the Middle East and the Maghreb. Brilliant. What a screaming disaster. The global socialists are at it again, wrestling back control any way possible. Nigel Farage says that ends with me if I become Prime Minister, and I'm going to kick off with your reaction, Mike Indian.
The Done Party and the new referendum. The overarching theme of the night was clear. The Conservative Party is done. Farage told the crowd, we are replacing the Conservative Party, and judging by the defections of councillors and London Assembly members like Keith Prince, the rot is deep. Farage is positioning reform not as a protest vote, but as the new home for anyone who feels betrayed by the last decade of Tory governance. He called the upcoming May 7th elections the first referendum on Starmer's Britain. He is betting that the public's frustration with migration, crime and the cost of living will explode at the ballot box. With pyrotechnics, T-shirt cannons and a candidate list that looks increasingly professional, Reform is trying to prove that they are the only ones capable of putting the great back in Britain. Whether they can turn electoral pyrotechnics into actual seats remains to be seen, but one thing is for sure, Nigel Farage has successfully dragged the political conversation exactly where he wants it. Thank you so much for watching The British Report. We will see you in the next one.